Welcome back to another short video for the Heathrow Virtual ATC X Learn to Fly training program. We're in the Cessna 172 SP, just taken off from Princess Juliet International Airport. In this short video we're going to go over straight and level flight, turns, climbs and descents, and of course the trim. So let's go ahead into the cockpit now and have a look at the instruments so we can familiarise ourselves with them. So, as you can see, there's several different instruments. If you haven't watched the tutorial on the instruments, which is on the first page, then please reference to that before continuing with this video. So what we're going to go ahead and do is maintain straight and level flight here for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to do a turn back to Princess Juliet International Airport and do some climbs and descents, and then we're going to finish off with the turns afterwards. So first off, just going to familiarise ourselves with the aircraft. So you've got the airspeed indicator, altitude indicator, heading indicator, VSI or virtual speed indicator, and horizontal and vertical indicator, which is located here. So to maintain straight and level flight, it's pretty simple. As long as you've got enough power in the aircraft, you should be absolutely fine. As long as you maintain a good speed, and of course using your trim to maintain your altitude. You'll know if you are maintaining your altitude or not by looking at the VSI or virtual speed indicator. As you can see, the virtual speed indicator is located down there and is also showing that we are not climbing or descending. We may be going up or down by a few feet, but nothing that ATC will worry about. In the Cessna 172, the aircraft will always have a tendency to turn to the left, so it's always a good idea just to keep an eye on your instruments and make sure everything's absolutely fine. So what we're going to go ahead and quickly do now is make a 20-degree bank turn to a heading of 300, which is nearly west, and fly back over to Princess Juliet International Airport. I'm going to maintain my altitude at this time for the flight until we get closer to the airport, where we're going to be doing some climbs and descents. So to start off with a turn, slowly move your joystick to the left or your flight yoke to the 20-degree marker. Note that the aircraft is going to want to descend, so add a bit of trim and back pressure on your joystick or flight yoke. Okay, as you can see, we are now turning at a 20-degree bank and maintaining an altitude of 2,200 feet. Okay, when coming out of the turn, put a bit of down pressure on the aircraft, because the aircraft is going to want to climb. And that, so we're going to start to roll out of our turn now. There we go. And as you can see, the aircraft is wanting to climb, so just put a little bit of pressure on the joystick. Don't worry if you lose your heading or altitude, you can correct that after. Okay, as you can see, we've got the island where Princess Juliet International Airport is. So we're going to go over now the climbs and descents. Now, relatively, just like if you're in a car, when you're going uphill you need to put more gas. If you're going downhill you use your brakes. In an aircraft, very similar, but in the case of when you're descending, you reduce power instead of putting on your brakes, so that's not really going to do much. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is do a climb to 3,000 feet. Okay, and I'm going to demonstrate how to successfully do this. So first off, add full power to the aircraft, okay, and use a bit of trim or a little bit of pressure on your joystick to push the aircraft up. Now, what you don't want to do is climb too fast, so maintain about 500 to 700 feet per minute in the VSI. This should give you a maintained airspeed of roughly 90 knots depending on your altitude. As you can see, it's very easy to achieve a climb in the aircraft, and in any aircraft it's the same. Never take your eyes off your instruments, as if it's really bad weather, you're going to need them. Always trust them. In a day like today, when it's nice blue skies with a bit of clouds, you can look outside and enjoy yourself, but always reference back to your instruments. Now, before we reach 3,000 feet, we are going to start leveling out the aircraft, usually about 200 feet before we get there. To do this, we just add a bit of down pressure on the joystick, trim the aircraft and reduce power back to 22 to 23 RPM. So we're going to go ahead and do this now. Okay, as you can see, the aircraft's going to want to dip, so remember to use that trim. It will be your best friend. So as you can see, we are now leveled out at 3,000 feet and maintaining an airspeed of roughly 100 knots. So we're going to quickly go ahead and do a descent now, very quickly indeed. So to do a descent, it's very easy. Reduce power down to about 20 RPM or 21 RPM and let the aircraft's nose fall and use a bit of trim so you don't go below 500 feet per minute. And we're going to go down to 2,000 feet now. Okay, in the Cessna 172, it's always important to not overspeed. So keep an airspeed below 120 and you should be relatively safe. Okay, we're coming up to 2,000 feet now, so when it is time to once again level off, in this case we'll add power and let the aircraft's nose pitch up and trim the aircraft so we don't go back into a climb. Okay, here we go, the aircraft nose is going to pitch up and use down trim so we don't begin a climb again. As you can see, it's very easy to do, but I've been doing this for many years and it will take you time to practice and master using the trim.